Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the OS World Cup 2021. We've got Another great matchup for you this morning. We started off strong. We had Korea versus Ukraine at 11 UTC. Hong Kong versus Turkey at 12 UTC. Both strong finishes from those two teams. And now we have another highly contested matchup. I think this one very well anticipated given the UK's performance in previous years. And Singapore with a couple of roster changes that may benefit them this year from last year. But regardless, we'll wait to see what happens in that match. I am one of your commentators today, Chili Repair. I will be joined by none other than this one guy. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. It is wonderful to be back here at the Osu World Cup. Snuff with such a banger of a match for the first one I'm commentating this year. Very excited to see how this match goes. The UK redemption arc starts here from their somewhat disappointing result last year. Like you said, some team improvements, some definite progress in that regard, but Singapore, man, not a team to be overlooked. So definitely one to look forward to.
That is the truth there. Both teams with two players being replaced from their previous rosters last year, most notably for the United Kingdom, Doomsday and Ventus not returning for the tournament this year. They will be replaced by a returning Carthy and Gemsy, the new AIM star of the UK for them this year. Singapore, getting rid of Lanjay and Lock-On, will be bringing Emilia and Seal. So four very decent switches for both of these rosters. I think, again, it'll benefit them in the later stages for both teams. They're gaining a little bit of skill cap. Emilia, not as proficient in tournaments as what he might have used to have been, or as compared to other players. So I'm very interested to see how he performs in this match today.
Yeah, you know, that's an interesting person because I think everybody that's even like vaguely familiar with Emilia knows that he has this just ridiculously high skill cap, especially on, you know, stuff like aim because of his play style. He is a very, very strong player overall, but like you said, not somebody that you see in tournaments all that often. So definitely a player to kind of keep an eye on as for what his performance looks like. Obviously, you know, the jokes about his accuracy thing because he plays tap X aside, very, very mechanically sound player. So I think definitely brings something to that roster. But very, very excited personally to see the return of Carthy. You know, especially, you know, after some of his like health issues that we know he's been going through, he's talked about on Twitter and stuff. So good to see him back competing in the World Cup. You know, I think part of what kind of sunk UK last year was their somewhat lower skill cap. It felt like, you know, losing to South Korea wasn't the biggest surprise, and I think it was round of 16. But you know, going on and losing to Indonesia in losers round 3, finishing top 16 after they'd gotten second in 2018, third in 2019, to drop all the way down to top 16. You know, you could definitely sense that some change was maybe in the offing in the year in between the OWCs. So UK, I think, you know, this is, I said this before we went live, but I think this is something of a redemption arc for them, you know, after having such good performances for a few years there, to kind of fall off. I think they're going to want to really show what they've got this year. And that starts early. It starts against this Singapore team here in the round of 32 very early on.
No, absolutely. I think we kind of referred to last year for the UK as that, you know, that rebuilding year that they needed. You know, unfortunately, every team is going to have to go through that every couple of years. It's very difficult, I think, for the morale of, you know, each of them to have to push through that, and especially with a team that had been traditionally as dominant as the UK in previous years. I mean, they're one of the consistently high-performing teams across multiple years in this tournament, and for them to take a turn for the worse to that extent last year was a crushing blow for them. But I think that they are highly motivated this year. I think the return of Carthy is something that is going to benefit them greatly. They've got a lot of players with significant performance, you know, increase from last year. You know, we saw players like Kingling who, you know, making their OWC debut, and this year the improvement across him, and you know, I guess I'll just use it as an example in particular, has been absolutely unreal. Is going to be a pivotal player for them this year. I think, you know, Blue and Malteser and Majora and all those players coming back as well, going to be good for them to maintain this mental status that they have right now. And of course, Bubbleman tried and true every single year for the UK. Their captain, their rock, is going to be, you know, he's gonna have to step it up this year, I think, to drag them into that maybe top 8 positioning again. But I think they could make it work. But Singapore, on these early rounds, you know, Singapore has definitely traded a lot of skill cap in previous years for a higher skill floor. But, you know, on a round of 32 matchup against the UK, they're going to be able to put up a couple of points here, I think. But I think we're going to have to look for that overall team consistency that I think you want to see so often from these teams.
Yeah, and I think, you know, these teams do both have a fair number of people who are tournament regulars, so I think the consistency probably should be there. Realistically speaking, this pool is not all that difficult, right? I mean, it's round of 32, you don't expect it to be. And guys out there who are in a ton of tournaments, you know, Tebby plays a lot of tournaments, Megamic plays a lot of tournaments, and no matter what, if you play in a tournament, you're gonna get that early round experience, right, by default, because you don't, you don't even have to win a match to play the first pool. So I think Singapore might be in an interesting spot here where they have a fair amount of experience, but I think the UK, you know, just has that higher overall skill cap, so some of the more difficult maps in this pool may favor them a little bit. Also, one thing that I'm going to look out for here is kind of a funny thing that last year, you know, the joke was that UK kind of got mechanics abused by Indonesia. They picked all the speed maps, and UK really didn't have an answer for it. This year, in the intermediate year, they've really spent a lot of time training and improving that mechanical skill. Guys like Malteser, Majora, the return of Karthi, very, very strong in those the kind of speed mechanics. So I would not be surprised to see UK just go right down the line, you know, Nomad 5, DT2, DT3 kind of stuff, where they can really put their finger control and speed at the forefront. And looks like once we get this intermediate issue here sorted out, it looks like we are going to be seeing Nomad 5 as that first pick. So curious to see how they perform on it. Curious to see what Singapore can do as well. But I think we should be about ready to go here. I'm not positive what's going on, but
Clan is pulling a funny, so we will we'll see if we can get switched back over. Apparently Bubbleman's game did crash, so
it looks like we're already in.
So we're getting back through.
Yeah, Bowman wasn't in for this map anyway. They're rolling with Malteser, Majora, Blue, Karthi on the UK side. Megamic, Tebby, Demonical, and Amelia in for Singapore on the first pick here. Nomad 5 kind of eases you into it. You know, this map doesn't really get as difficult, you know, until you get maybe a quarter to a third of the way through. But it does require a decent amount of, you know, early round speed stamina. A lot of triples, a lot of quins. Looks like Tebby the first one to get caught out by that.
Oh, not the worst start ever there. Karthi did find a break a little bit earlier on in the map, and with accuracy relatively similar to what Tebby's is here. It's not going to be much of a difference between these two teams here. It really is the difference on Majore right now being significantly more comfortable on speed in this lobby compared to everyone else. Malteser is going to be right up next to him, kind of as expected. I think Malteser and Majore, two of the kind of staple speed players for the UK, easily, I think, their strongest pairing that they can put up here. You know, you throw Bubbleman in for some of those stamina-oriented picks, but, you know, Blue and Karthi, both very skilled players. This is, you know, and I guess we can put eyes on Majore, especially with the, you know, winning Speed Cup in this past year, is kind of, again, a staple of the speed community as a whole. So having that on your roster for a Nomad 5 like this, you know, basically having a guaranteed FC with high accuracy is pivotal for the UK. And regardless of Singapore putting up two strong combos on Megamic and Demonical right now, this overall team performance from Malteser, Majora, and even Karthi now recovered from that beginning break will be very solid for them. Blue's going to have a little bit more trouble, but regardless, still going to put up well above 600k for a confident first point for the UK. And Majora misses the ending.
Majora, no!
Cannot.
Oh, what did you do?
His slider broke.
His slider broke. Oh, that's so sad. That would have been a very nice early score to get, but it's still an S rank. It's still the top score in the lobby by a bit over Demonical. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want as UK, you know, come into your first pick and just have a very comfy first map for you that even with, you know, a little bit maybe of an underperformance from Blue, still able to win. Tebby and Amelia not having the greatest time. And that's kind of what I was saying, you know, the concern was there for Singapore was that if the UK goes into these kind of mechanics picks, what we've kind of dubbed left-hand maps, Singapore might have some trouble with a few of those. So we'll see what kind of pick they come back with to try and contest that. It's interesting, you see Bubbleman stepping out for the first map there. I wonder if we won't see much of him in this match if the UK has a strong lead. If he wants to kind of sit back and let his teammates take the stage a little bit more, give them the experience here in these early rounds to really get the confidence up.
I completely agree. I think that if there was any around, I think Bubbleman stepping out for some of these early stages is going to be good for the team to, work together, maybe without requiring that, carry presence, that guaranteed FC. It also takes a lot of the pressure off of Bubbleman. I think he, especially, like last year, it puts so much pressure on you when you are, not only one of the best players in your country, but one of the best players in tournaments as a whole. And coming into maps and being basically expected to FC or perform highly on maps over and over again puts a lot of stress on players. And I think if the UK is able to minimize that stress that they put on Bubbleman through these early stages and, make more use of him in late stages, maybe when he'll be more useful or, when they're going to kind of need that performance, is something that they may want to look for. I'm not sure if that's their strategy, but I could completely understand if that's the route that they were going to go for, especially against a team like Singapore, where, these two teams, their skill sets aren't all that different. They're both mechanically strong teams. I mean, they have the technical side of that roster, but, especially for stuff like AR8, Singapore has got maybe a very minor advantage on stuff like this, and there's not too many maps that are, reading oriented or more gimmicky in this pool. So, you're looking at close matchups, even on stuff that they're good at. They are going to put Bubbleman in for this one, so I guess we will see him a little bit for the AR8. Understandable, they don't really have a 4-man AR8 roster besides him, but I'm interested to see how much he will frequent this lobby.
Yeah, I think if they pick stuff along those same lines as Nomad 5, he might sit out a little bit and let the teammates come in. Singapore, though, they go the exact opposite of the first pick from the UK, kind of what I would have expected, going into this very classic early round AR8 hidden. It's basically, kind of that linear geometric pattern aim. So it's just a very, very straightforward early round low approach rate test. And guys like Artisan on the Singapore side, for people who follow along community tournaments, very, very good at these types of maps. Megamic low slide as well. Amelia sitting in still. I don't think of him as a low AR player, but his aim is very good. So as long as he can read fine, it shouldn't be an issue. Yeah. And you recognize quickly, I think, that this is like a Mirage X Delis collab. I mean, it's just the most blatantly obvious, stylistic map that you're ever gonna see. So I think this should be a good sort of test, switching things up skill set wise, forcing players to go straight from your team's kind of speed roster to your team's reading aim roster is an interesting direction to switch to, and forces teams to kind of use their full roster, kind of switch things up a little bit in a lot of cases, and 2 early breaks from UK, so maybe not the absolute strongest on this.
Yeah, it's not going too well for them at the beginning here. Kingling with low accuracy. Blue is a little bit more coverable, but that's a double trade from Singapore there. That's going to bring them back into it a little bit here.
Gemsy breaking as well, so it's just Bubbleman on the FC for UK. Lowslight and Amelia still full comboing for Singapore. And Amelia shocking everyone with the highest AC in the lobby. So it is possible, even with the Tap X, to have good AC on these lower BPM maps. Another break from Kingling and Megamic. This one's going to stay relatively close, but that double FC should work for Singapore to keep them in the lead.
I think Blue's accuracy is making a big difference for the UK despite that break.
Yeah, the 97 on Megamic and the mid-98 on Lowslight, dragging them down just a little bit. But Gemsy at 97 and Kingling at 96, so I mean, it's a tough one for UK. Singapore is in a pretty comfy spot here, assuming that those 2 full combos hold.
This is a Tap X when linear aim moment right here. Amelia is going to be so comfortable on this map, I think. We mentioned if you could read the AR on this, I think this is something Amelia just kind of tears through. This is very well suited to his skill set as well in terms of the aim patterning here. Megamic's going to break again, but Blue trades it.
Yeah, notably with Amelia is on this, it's just 180 BPM, so he's basically able to just tap the entire thing. It's really not a lot of that alternating tap and then key press, so it's not as challenging. Another break from Kingling comes out. This one should be decided here. Very, very strong performance from Singapore, and maybe seeing something that could be a little bit of a weakness for the UK here on this type of map. Bubbleman obviously going to be consistent and confident on anything, but the rest of the team not putting up the scores they needed, and it's hard to compete with a double FC from your opposition. Losali and Amelia doing a great job on this first pick for their team.
This is super solid from Singapore right there. Amelia, I think, a little bit less surprising with the strong performance on there. Losley, not normally someone I think that you would pin down as a awkward aim, low AR hidden pick player. I mean, Losley, very heavily known for, hidden hard rock, stream consistency, big mechanics maps. A little bit less so for the reading and the gimmick. So it's very nice to see that even players like Losley are going to be, useful for Singapore on stuff like this. The UK not looking super strong on the early stage reading maps here, and I guess it's a little bit less on the side of reading and more on that awkward aim with the density filling in, but at least Singapore has found a way to get themselves right into this match. They're not letting anything slip away here at the beginning. UK very quickly going to go for the hard rock too. They're going to go for Makes Me Wonder. We're just going to completely change up skill sets 3 times in a row here.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? We go from the Speed Nomad to the low approach rate aim map into the circle size 6.5. And again, with this pool being so early, these are kind of going to be staple maps for their slots. So this 6.5 is low BPM. It's got some bursts and some streams, a little bit of pattern aim, but it kind of fits right in with what you'd expect. And UK has a pretty strong precision roster this year. I mean, we know Kingling, one of the best small circle players in the world. So going to test the waters here in a different skill set, but another one that they feel they're going to be strong on.
I think it's very interesting. We've been seeing, and I don't know if UK is going to set their roster as this, but we've been seeing Majore a lot more across these precision hard rock picks and tournaments as of recent. I think, if you look maybe a year and a half ago, I don't think you ever would have seen Majore in for, as consistently as we do now for these precision picks, but he's become almost a sit-in for the teams that he's been on for some of these hard rock picks here, and it's very interesting to see the skill sets kind of round out for someone like him. Majore, for many years now, has been, one of the stronger players on the UK roster, and, if he's been able to round his skill sets out more over the past few years, being able to back up players like Bubbleman and Carthy on this roster and that set, 4 is another reason that the UK might make a big improvement here. You got players like Megamick on the side of Singapore as well, who are just absolutely like demon precision players. This is going to be a very close map, I think, between these two.
Yeah, this is a skill set that I'm a little less familiar with on the Singapore side. I will not lie. Their precision is something I haven't seen quite as much of to know one way or the other. But on an early round pool like this, I think anybody that's moderately competent on a given skill set will be able to perform okay. I mean, this is not going to be the hardest of maps, so we'll get into it and see how things go. Get to see the Kingling Blue Bowman Majora squad taking on Megamick, Demonical, Low Slight, Seal, and another relatively short map, just 2.5 minutes, but decent amount of note density through the majority of it, so there will be a fair amount of combo to build up, and we'll see if anybody's got those early round jitters, because those can cause you to miss on small circles very, very easily.
Yeah, we saw a couple cursor slips in the previous matches this morning that kind of let some points up here, but Blue and Seal going to be trading off some early breaks here, going to keep it pretty even between the two. Blue's accuracy lead is going to make a really big difference here, and again, we mentioned players like Kingling on this map, who this is so comfortable for him that it's not even going to be comparable to any other player in this lobby, I think.
Yeah, Kingling is like one of the best precision players in this entire tournament. I mean, the guy is incredible at hard rock accuracy, small circle hard rock. Very, very strong on this, and Bubbleman as well, keeping that act up super high. Majora holding the FC with 99 as well, and really nothing on the side of Singapore that can contest that. You see another break from Seal. Low Slate just broke. Megamic with another break for them. So very clearly the UK favored in this early on, already taking over 200k lead.
Well, not much that Singapore can do right now except hope and, that the UK finds at least one break here to make the scoreline closer, but passing that halfway point in the map right now with only one FC on Demonical with accuracy, that a little bit worse for wear than the 3 FCs on the UK, and blue negligible combo difference. I mean, we're about 110 combo down on blue right now, which is higher than 3 of the 4 players on the side of Singapore right here. This is just the team performance from the UK. I think that we kind of expect from them in these early stages here as well. Just a team that has so much tournament experience and how comfortable they are with maps like this that it's even with a team as proficient as Singapore at precision picks, it makes it look like they're just so far ahead.
Yeah, there is finally going to be that break from Majora, so not going to be the 3-way, but yeah, this is just UK. I mean, it's just the UK being better at this skill set. It's pretty much all this comes down to. They are clearly very comfortable with this map and this style of map, and that's a solid score, man. Just under 4 million. That is really, really strong. Blue and Majora, in that 840 to 880 range, and then the double FC from Kingling and Bowman. Demonical with the lone full combo for Singapore. A bright spot in the darkness for them, but clearly not their favorite skill set, and it shows with that result. So 2 very good picks from the UK to start off, and 2 very different picks. You go from speed into small circles. We'll see where Singapore goes after the first pick, low approach rate. What is going to be their kind of pivot point here?
I do wonder if Singapore, Singapore is one of those teams that I think has a strong Nomad 2 roster, but I wonder if they're going to want to chance it against the UK, who is pretty proficient in these more aim-oriented Nomad 2s. I think the spacing and velocity change on the Nomad 2 this week might prove to be a little bit difficult, but I mean, if you're looking at this roster of players, like Lost Light and Megamic and players like that, you really have to wonder if they're going to chance it with that over DT. They're going to go hidden. Now that... I mean, they went hidden too, and they won it pretty comfortably, so maybe they're just saying, hey, we feel good with this mod, and we're just going to pick the other option available. The hidden one, very, very different stylistically, obviously, than the hidden 2. Bubble Flower kind of throws a lot of different skills at you. It's got some aim, it's got some overlap reading, it's got that super cool swing rhythm part. I love that part of this song. It's mapped really, really well. But, it's saying, hey, we like our hidden roster, and we like our hidden roster's chances. Whether or not the UK did poorly on the previous hidden pick because of them not being good at low approach rate or just not being good at hidden is, I think, what we're going to find out here with this pick from Singapore, who looked really strong on their first hidden pick. They really did, and we saw some flickering performances from teams on this in previous matches this morning. So we had it banned in the first match, but in that Hong Kong Turkey match, you kind of flip back and forth on this. Some of the sliders in this really will catch you off guard, and I think that's not too much of a surprise for most people if you've played a Kecking map before. I think tournament mapping aside, I think that's kind of the style that you expect from this. But both teams, strong hidden rosters on here. I don't know if I could pin either one as having a distinct advantage. I guess you could give it to Singapore, but even then, it's a complete difference in terms of density and reading on this. AR 9.2, while not ridiculously easy to read, for a lot of players, it certainly is a whole different beast than an AR 8 hidden pick, especially with the aim styles being so different, less linear, it's less pattern aimed, and more just going through the motions here. This is more mechanically oriented of a hidden pick, as you'd expect from a hidden one, which may make this a little bit more contested, but both teams are consistent today. I'm not going to make a prediction about this one.
Yeah, I think, excuse me, I think just in general, this is a little bit less of a binary pick. Hidden 2, it's kind of in that realm of you can either play it or you can't a lot of the time, even in early rounds, because a lot of people just aren't good at area hidden. Whereas with a hidden 1, there's a little more room for people who aren't, maybe 100% fully confident with the style of map to play, to find at least something in it they can do better on, I guess. But this is actually, I think, one of the trickier maps in the pool, just in terms of its overall skill requirement, because it throws several different aspects at you. I think, looking out for like another just Bubbleman FC, but the hidden name looked good on Singapore. Yeah, I think, like you said, I think this is going to be very contested. I think this is really a coin flip in the sense of it being able to go either way, rather than it being like necessarily a poor selection. Also, yeah, the Cat Gems, this is such a good song. It's really nice. Sound Solar just makes good stuff.
Gotta give credit where credit's due. This is the entertainer right here. Close pick, mind you, as well, at this pause section right here. Just a couple 1,000-point difference on the accuracy. And I mean, look at Tebby and Demonical up there, both holding double S's still without any issues thus far. And the map doesn't really change too much, so, it's going to be hard-pressed to see massive act drops from them.
Yeah, you go through this middle third of the map with fairly consistent style. There is a break from Carthy, missing an entire burst. So that is going to give Singapore a pretty big advantage, but Lowslight tosses it right on back over, dropping his accuracy right down to join Carthy. Tebby, the second break from Singapore. That gets scary now. You still have the triple FC, and there goes the Monocle as well. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, this may have just ended, because that's now 3 FCs from the UK to just the 1 over on the side of Singapore. That was really unfortunate right there. Just about the 2/3 mark. That's going to be a bad score cap, and you come into this kind of swing rhythm section. There's not as much note density here, and that's going to be the UK running away with this, I think, in the last quarter.
Yeah, that is a very quick downward spiral for Singapore right there. They were so confident. Demonical and Tebby both holding a double S through that halfway point of the map, and just unfortunate breaks from them. Bubbleman and Carthy do break at the ending, but Gemsy and Blue both holding those FCs. Blue with very good accuracy, above 99% there. And it's just Amelia once again to come in for Singapore again. We mentioned that Amelia was a great addition for the team for Singapore this year. And, despite maybe more tournament inexperience compared to some of the players in this lobby, that skill still very much shows through for Amelia, in this lobby right here. Blue top scoring that map by a decent margin. They're 1.04 million on a hidden pick. The UK is going to take their 3rd point, going to take that one away from Singapore, mind you, as well. So now Singapore is going to fight that uphill battle, try and get back into this.
Yeah, very impressed, as we were saying, by Amelia. He is playing quite well in this match. The hidden aim, I think, a very good spot for him to be in. But the UK showing, I think, early on here that they are a pretty well-rounded roster. They've, up 3-1. On the 4 maps, they're like a player from their team has top scored all 4 of the maps, and it's been a different player each time. You have Majora, Bubbleman, Kingling, and now Blue have all top scored a map for that team. So you can kind of get the sense that the UK is going to make use of everyone on that roster. They're all going to have a role to play in their given skill set. And we're going to continue switching over, going right down the mod pools, going into that double time section. DT2 is going to be the pick here from UK. I expected this one to come out eventually. This is the... It feels a lot like the No Mod 5, a little bit faster, a little more stamina requirement. But in general, this is going to feel right at home for these UK speedy boys.
Well, might as well stick to your strong suits here. I think that the UK is going to benefit very much from picking into the picks that they know that they can put up that 4-man performance on. I think that's, that is the easiest way to know that you can work your way through these early stages. Every team that has qualified for this tournament, in some sense, is going to be fairly comfortable in a round of 32 pool, given that the qualifiers pool was, 2 or 3 rounds more difficult than what they are currently playing in theory. So when you kind of tone the pools down a little bit, being able to put up that 4-person performance as a team is invaluable for these rosters that, not only pride themselves on maybe having a couple of skill cap players, but really have that solid all-around here. And, unfortunately enough, when you're in early matchups between seeds like this, it's hard to kind of determine, who's going to have the more consistent match. Singapore's got a whole roster of players right here that on any given day could whack an FC out on these maps like it was no problem. But so does the UK, and, fortunately for them, they're having just a slightly better match in terms of overall performance and consistency right now.
Yeah, I think there's just this sort of sense of typically of confidence from the UK that you get. And I don't know, maybe Singapore has that as well, but it's not quite as visible as though we did see blue with the first miss. But this is another map that I think should be pretty contested, despite the fact that UK won Nomad 5 going away. You've got some players who are very good in this skill set for Singapore. The one concerning factor I'm going to see that I'm going to be watching is going to be Emilia's accuracy, because on this type of map, he is forced to do the alternating pen-tap key press, which is very hard to have good accuracy on. But he is staying right up there, a little bit above blue, so it's keeping things pretty close, and still no misses yet from Singapore, so about 130 combo advantage to the good for their team, looking to bring this break point back.
Well, both teams strong right now, and again, you mentioned Blue has had a little bit more trouble than most other players on the roster today, has found those, early breaks compared to everyone else. There goes Demonical for Singapore.
Can't top back on their team, too, up at 99.7%, so that's their best score. It's going to fall. It's going to be UK looking to take this lead back here through the middle portion of the map. It should flicker right on over, barring a break from one of their players. But it's Blue finding his second miss. It's actually... It should just stay close. It benefits Singapore. It's going to stay pretty close still. Demonical up by just under 200 combo now. Will take the lead back. This is going to make sense. There goes Malteser. Okay, wait a second. This could get very interesting.
Singapore's got the accuracy enough, too. Look at this. It's right next to each other. It's just that difference of Malteser. Now, that score lead has now shot well over 100,000. And everyone coming into the last couple seconds here, Emilia's the only one that's really shaking on Singapore for this pick, but it's GS Blank to find a break. It might be too late, though.
I don't think there's enough time. They still have the double FC on Singapore. That's going to hold on to this lead, and Demonical with a big combo. That can match Blue and Malteser, so this should be fine for Singapore. Not enough time left for UK to make the comeback happen. And maybe we were a little wrong about UK being able to mechanics abuse Singapore, because Singapore says, no, sir, we're not having any of that. And they're going to take the break point right on back with a great 4.1 million score. Double FC from Emilia and Megumik. GS Blank just a little bit behind, still 990k. Those breaks from Blue were unfortunately the downfall of the United Kingdom on that map. That is well done by Singapore, taking that quick break point right back their way.
That was unbelievably unfortunate for the UK. Malteser's miss right at the ending was the difference, I think, between them winning and losing that map. He had the second highest accuracy in the lobby aside from Demonical. 7 100s and 1 miss, 8 100s, 1 miss, and 150. If you don't see that break from Malteser at the end, despite everything that Blue, kind of misaimed in that map or kind of messed up, Malteser was a difference maker on that map, and unfortunately, not the time for him in that team performance from Singapore. Again, I can be as redundant as, we kind of like about this, but the team performance on these maps is really all that matters. You can put up whatever solo performance that you want, but if you don't have the backing players for it, it's really not going to mean too much. And, I think Singapore possibly a little bit underseeded out of qualifiers, definitely could have worked their way up the seedings just a little bit more from here. This matchup is going to be a tight one, especially, we mentioned Singapore's early stage skill floor. Going to benefit them fairly heavily here. Emilia continuing to be a performance giver in the map, and they're going to go for Nomad 3.
Yeah, so Singapore are going to continue their trend of taking away from, kind of raw mechanics. Going to go into the alt Nomad pick here. てかもう単純に This is it's that early round, really long alt pick, kind of hybrid of I think a little bit of snap aim, a little bit of flow alt aim. But this one is going to be a consistency tester, man. 4 minutes is nothing to sneeze at, especially when you're in a close match like this one is proving to be so far.
Well, this map is, I think, again, this may benefit the UK in the sense that I think, you know, if you've played tournaments to an extent, you know this map fairly well. I think this has been used a couple of times, not necessarily this difficulty, mind you, but this mob stiff. I mean, if you take a look at even like the leaderboards for this map, you got Kingling with #1 on this map with hidden hard rock. So if you get the mods taken off for him, you know, you kind of expect like almost a guaranteed FC in most senses. I mean, this map is not one of those maps that gets more difficult when you take off hidden hard rock because of density or something like that. I mean, it's CS4 AR 9.4, which is kind of like dead smack in the middle of that perfectly comfortable zone for a lot of these players. So, got some contention here, but Singapore, I mean, I look at a roster of Artisan, Demonical, Lozlight, and Megamic, and I feel fear on a Nomad 3. I think that's just the name that the Singapore roster has made for themselves by this point.
Yeah, I think this is a really solid roster for this type of map for the Singapore side. So I think we are going to see another very close, very competitive pick here. UK, I mean, like you said, Kingling rank 1 on this on the leaderboard. Bowman, Karthi blue, obviously no slouches on the alt picks. This should be a very closely fought battle, I think. And I really feel like, you know, the length of this, we haven't seen too many players looking like they're all that nervous, but if you're ever gonna feel that kind of nerves, it might be on a map that's this long.
Yeah, well, there goes Blue with that early break again. I don't think there's been a single map thus far that we haven't seen Blue just break at the beginning.
Yeah, he's having some trouble early on in maps. I don't know what's going on over there. Fortunately, there's this kind of easy free combo first verse here to build up a little bit, but he's having a little rough go of things on the early stages of these picks.
It's the nerve eliminator. That's what it
is.
It is.
Yeah, that is the method. Just get the early break out of the way, and then you can FC the rest of it without having to feel like, oh god, I'm holding a full combo.
Yeah, that's basic. That's the strategy we'll chalk it up to. Blue is eliminating all nerves possible. I mean, he's not having a bad play. He's right up at 99% act. Bubble Man slider break.
That's not good. Oh. I mean, that's 400 combo in, and that's a 4-way FC still going on over on the Singapore side.
That was nothing.
Yeah, he just slider broke. I don't know if he just missed after or something. That was very strange. But that gives Singapore a pretty solid advantage. Demonical still holding on to the SS. Over 99 on Artisan and Megamic, so very good spot to be in for Singapore here early on. About a third of the way in, that lead is going to start to grow slowly. With the map being so long, it doesn't grow all that quick, but it'll get there if they keep this up. There's a break from Karthi as well. This is not going all that well for the United Kingdom. 3 misses already. It's going to be Singapore just kind of rolling with this lead. Another break from Blue. I don't want to say this is already over because we're not even halfway through the map and the lead is like barely 100,000 points. But UK just does not look like they've got it on this map.
Yeah, I don't... You know, the UK is not necessarily a team that you would expect to struggle this much on an early stage, you know, Nomad 3 kind of flow aim alt map. So I don't even know if it's them struggling or if it's just Singapore is absolutely destroying this map right now. And I think it's the latter. I mean, you're halfway through this map right now, and I don't think a single player on Singapore has shown even a slight sign of struggling on any pattern yet. Oh, nope. Never mind.
Megamic missed most of one pattern, so
complete misread.
He's making a liar out of you very quickly there. It's okay. They've still got the triple FC. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, this is a very good performance from Singapore. You go 1,000 combo with 4-way FC, and you're a couple hundred combo past that with a 3-way FC still. But I think, as Low Slate finds the next break, I think if you want to be a team that's competing to win the whole thing, you have to be able to put up a couple of FCs on maps like this, and UK is just not doing that. And I don't know if that's the consistency not quite being there for Nomad 3s, or if that's them just underperforming a little bit on this particular day. But you look forward at teams that, don't find the expected outcomes, and you don't necessarily have the best feeling for them.
Well, unfortunately, that double break for Blue and Carthian. There's the FC. It's gone. Yeah, all right. Well, and with Kingling goes the UK's chances of doing anything on this map if they weren't already gone already. Singapore is going to put up an absolutely ridiculous team score. Demonical and Bubbleman going to trade out, and Artisan is just going to continue doing things here. I will not mention until the map is completed in a couple of seconds, because that triangle at the ending is dangerous.
Yeah, alt maps always feel like you can break just about anywhere, and the players kind of do go to show that is pretty true. Boy, Artisan with a little bit of late shake there, but it was after the ending combo. So that is the Lone FC going to come out from Artisan. Very good performance. Whoa, okay, I guess we have an instant switch here to the next pick. Dear me.
Wow.
That is going to be... that's going to be Singapore winning their pick, taking it to 3-all. And UK... before the map was even over on my screen there, UK already have Hard Rock 1 in, so it is going to be Mushikui Saikade Rhythm, the slightly higher BPM aim-focused Hard Rock pick. UK liked Hard Rock 2, and they're going to see if they like Hard Rock 1 also.
Well, luckily we had the map change switch without destroying the client today, so we can continue right on with the match here, but this is, the UK, their Hard Rock 2 performance was kind of as scary as what you would, kind of saw out of Singapore on that previous alt map there. So I am interested to see if the UK can replicate the performance that they had somewhat on the Hard Rock 2 on their Hard Rock 1. I think that Singapore has more of a chance of putting up a strong team performance on a Hard Rock 1, but with the consistency from the UK on mechanics-oriented maps today, and, Kingling seems like he's having a really good day, and it's pretty beneficial to have your best Hard Rock player having a good day on your Hard Rock 1 pick, so...
Yeah. This, I think, from what I've heard from player feedback, that to a lot of people, this map is fairly simple and straightforward, and if you are familiar with the map, it's not exactly untrue to say that anyway. Like you said, I think this is going to be more a pick where Singapore might be able to get a look at another breakpoint than Hard Rock 2. But UK mechanics, I mean, they won on the hidden one. This is, I think, you kind of have to assume that UK is going to put up a good score on this, but given how they're performing so far, I mean, nothing seems guaranteed.
I don't know. This is a sigh match right now, because you can't really predict anything anymore. All predictability of this match has been lost right now, because they're just going back and forth.
Yeah. I think what we have to do here is we have to watch, the first, the intro first PI, and then kind of go from there. That still leaves half, 2/3 of the pick after that. I think by that point we'll be able to get a feel for who is looking more comfortable and more confident on this pick.
Blue did not miss in the first 200 combo.
Yeah,
the UK
true.
wins.
Blue holding an SS through 240 combo, that's a good sign.
Oh,
very good
never.
There we go. Okay, well, it's not a good sign anymore. It's a good sign for Blue. It may not be a good sign for the United Kingdom as a whole, but it was a good sign for Blue. Meanwhile, the 4-way on the side of Singapore still intact. Very solid accuracy for everybody except Low Slate as well, down at 96, low 97 for him. Meanwhile, the entire UK has over 99, so they do maintain that lead for now.
It's going to go back pretty quickly here, but we're going to keep it right down the middle. Oh, never mind. Law's Light lost it.
That's always that concern, you look at the player with the lowest accuracy and you think maybe that's going to be with a break, and there goes Artisan as well. Yeah. So that is a big advantage to UK now. 3 FCs to just 2 going into the second verse.
strong performance from the UK. You know, I think we kind of expected this on a Hard Rock pick, this overall team accuracy. I mean, Kingling, from what we saw on the Hard Rock 2 and every map that Kingling has ever played with Hard Rock, I think we expected a strong accuracy. Blue is an outstanding consistency and aim player, so him putting up high ac on this is not a very big surprise as well. Carthy with a slight break actually would have right around the same accuracy as Blue and Kingling without that miss. Bubbleman bringing up the rear, but I guess if you're bringing up the rear with 99.5, you're in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah, this active for the UK is actually pretty ridiculous. I mean, we know they're good at mechanics, but keeping that kind of accuracy on a Hard Rock pick like this is really, really impressive. Pneumatical and GS Blank doing what they can to keep things in check, but those breaks from Artisan and Loslate not helping it. There is a break from Carthy. If the UK finds one more break, this could get kind of close at the end, but Artisan and GS Blank both break instead. Yeah. And well, it's still just over a quarter of the map, but I think it is pretty well decided with a 400k lead.
Kingling almost is done. Kingling is like 100 off an SS, 2 100. So this is... I mean, the chances of Kingling finding a break right now are very low, and the UK realistically only just needs one person to hold for... Actually, I don't even know if they do. I don't even know if they do.
This is out of reach for Singapore at this point. This is just a really good team performance for the United Kingdom. Last FC gone from Singapore. Oh, Kingling does find a break. Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Look at accuracy, too. He would have top scored. He might... No, he won't be able to top score now.
Oh.
But that act is so good, too. That's really sad. Bubbleman now will... take that top score honor, it looks like.
Yeah, Bubbleman no longer bringing up the rear, making an AC improvement for the entire map.
Yeah. Notably, a 3.67 million score with a 569k from Carthy. That's like a what could have been scenario there if Carthy had not found those breaks. UK looking very, very good on that pick, and now they push it out to match point. And you had mentioned earlier... Singapore may be thinking about kind of coin flipping that Nomad 2 against a UK that is ridiculously strong at stream maps, but they are going to do it with their last pick of the match.
There it is. They have a strong Nomad 2 roster. I mean, I feel like even if you were to look past nobody on the Singapore roster besides Loslite, you would say that they have a strong Nomad 2 team. I mean, that's putting aside the performance that we've seen out of players like Kitty in previous years. Or even in, community tournaments for that matter. Emilia, unfortunately, not going to be quite as useful on the Nomad 2 map, especially a variable spacing like Nomad 2 like this, where you kind of have stream velocity that changes frequently. But
it's always interesting watching Nomad 2s over the course of a tournament, because I feel like Nomad 2 is probably the type of map where there are the most kind of knobs to turn to adjust difficulty, right? You can increase BPM, you can increase spacing, you can increase the length of streams, you can increase the stream aim complexity. So there's a lot of little ways you can increase the difficulty of Nomad 2s, to fit the stage. You could take this same map, make the spacing bigger, and make the streams longer, and you would have something that was like a star harder. This being so early on, it's pretty straightforward, very comfortable 184 BPM. I don't think there's anybody in this tournament who's going to really struggle with this type of pick. So this is just going to come down to the basic early round Nomad 2 consistency here for these two teams. And hopefully, for Singapore's sake, they can come out on top and force a tiebreaker.
I hope for this tournament's sake they come out and force a tiebreaker right now. I think that would be very exciting to open up the round of 32 here.
We've talked about a little bit in some different servers and stuff whether there were any likely matches to go to tiebreaker, and I don't know that people necessarily would have said this one, but Singapore has come out in pretty impressive fashion. Worst case scenario, they put up 3 points against a UK team that people have been talking about as a potential top 4 candidate this year. So that's a good performance from Singapore no matter what happens, but they're looking to make it even better as we get into their last pick, and this will be the last pick before potential TP.
I mean, it's kind of funny. You look at this UK roster, and I feel like if this was any other time ever, I would look at these 4 players, and I would say that there is absolutely zero chance that they lose to any team. I mean, you look at Bubbleman and Carthy and Blue and Kingling in a map, and you can, knowingly and willingly say that they are going to lose a stream pick it really says something about Singapore at this point in their performance. I mean, you could think of a point like a year or two ago where that would never have even crossed your mind. And Carthy gonna find that first early break, so it is gonna give it over to Singapore, which means that they can see the light at the end of the tunnel for tiebreaker right now.
Yeah, this is, a middle length map. It's 3.5 minutes. There's a lot of time left. There's a lot of combo, but maybe just that bit of combo you can start to get built up from Singapore. There's nothing in this that's overly difficult. There's a couple of longer streams. There's that one, it's kind of like 2/3 of the way through. There's like an awkward overlap stream that I would not be surprised to see that catch people out. But in general, pretty straightforward, pretty comfortable. So it's surprising to see a player like Carthy breaking twice already, but there goes Tebby. So it is going to, kind of void that combo lead that Singapore would have been able to build up. But they do have about, what is that, a 70k lead or so. Yeah. That accuracy staying really high, though. Kingling 1x100, Bubbleman SS. That is to mash Low Slights SS and Tebby with another break. This starts to get a little rough now. It's going to go back and forth very heavily as Carthy finds a break as well, so no combo advantage either way at the halfway mark.
There's nothing they're going to be able to do about this right now. We mentioned Lawslight going to be a big performer on this map, still holding that double S right alongside Bubbleman, but we're going to start to come into that last quarter of the map within the next 15 seconds here, 15, 20 seconds, and that's do or die time right there. They need Carthy to be able to hold the combo. There goes Tebby breaking it again, and that's the opportunity that the UK needs. They may be able to shut this out before tiebreaker. Tebby is struggling so much.
Tebby's having a really hard time, down all the way to 96% accuracy. UK should be able to take the lead. And there is seal goes as well for Singapore. That is probably going to seal the deal. Pun completely unintended, of course. But Kingling blew Bowman. There was Megabic as well. All right, that's going to be the GG right there. That is unfortunate for Singapore. They looked so good for the first half of this map, but UK just holding the stamina, holding the consistency down. Bubbleman saying, hey guys, don't worry, I've got this. The SS still intact for him. Kingling just a couple hundreds and blew a little bit behind on accuracy, but this is just a great team performance from the United Kingdom. A triple FC.
Oh no, he drops the double S.
And Bubbleman with the latest couple of... Did he just not play the last burst at the right time? Yeah.
Forgot about it. He just 50'd it. Oh no.
You hate to see it. Well, he doesn't even top score because of that either. Kingling ends up with the higher score. Oh man. Lowslight, shoutouts to Lowslight, by the way, maintaining the full combo with 400 is a very good play from him, but unfortunately, Tebby just fell off of the face of the earth on that, and there was no coming back from those late breaks for Singapore. So UK, they begin their 2021 campaign, I think, in a little bit of a rougher fashion than they would have liked. 5-3 against a pretty strong Singapore team, but I think they could definitely want to have a couple of those performances back, make this look a little cleaner. But it's job done for the United Kingdom. 5-3, they take the win. They go on to round of 16, where they will most likely, let's see, they already do.
South Korea.
It is a rematch. South Korea, the rematch.
It is a rematch.
2 years in a row, we get round of 16 UK versus South Korea. That's going to be a match that nobody wants to miss. That is going to be a hell of a round of 16 match right there. My goodness.
Oh, what more can you say? I mean, you got the round of 16 last year. South Korea, the team to knock the UK to the losers bracket. The question, I think, in everyone's minds is that with the improvements that the UK has made to their roster this year, can they reciprocate and return the favor to South Korea? The question, both of these teams full well deserve to move on to the next stage of the tournament in the winners bracket. Unfortunately, only one of them is going to be able to advance there. So I guess all we can say is best of luck to those two teams. One of you will be advancing through, and the other one is going to have a little bit of a fun time maybe down in the losers bracket, where we are going to have just a whole competitive tournament from start to finish this year. There's not much else. I mean, what else can you say about that matchup? You cannot miss it.
Yeah, that is... Boy, that's... So, 2019, that was the losers bracket final matchup. South Korea won on a tiebreaker. 2020, round of 16, I want to say South Korea won something like 5-3, if memory serves. Yeah. And now we get it again here in 2021. Pretty crazy to see those teams matching up 3 years straight. And UK looking for their first win in the series, looking to avoid dropping to the 0-3. But yeah, good, a good job at the moment, at least to United Kingdom. I think they know they've got their work cut out for them in round of 16. They've got some work to do over the next week. I'm sure Ballman will be whipping his boys into shape there. They're going to need everything they've got against a very strong Korean roster.
If there was ever a time, that's it. Right here, first chance.
And But that's going to do it. I think next up, we're going to get another good matchup here. We've got coming up Russia versus China in just a few minutes, 15 UTC. A very different look for both of these rosters. Some big changes for both those teams. I believe Russia without Allometry this year, China without Crystal this year. That's got to be one of the biggest losses that a team could take. So that should be an exciting one. I think we're going to be bringing in a couple of new commentators for that one.
One brand new commentator to
and
the
one
tournament.
brand new. Yeah, we're gonna be seeing a commentator making his debut here. So
everyone show him some love.
Make sure to give Mr. Demarsh a warm welcome once he gets into the booth for that next match. He'll be joined by Doland, everybody's longtime popular caster there.
The one and only.
The one and only Doland, the hypecaster extraordinaire himself. So stick around for those two. Stick around for that match, Russia versus China, coming up just a few minutes, followed up by Brazil versus the Philippines, also guaranteed to be a banger. Those will be the last two matches for our Saturday morning slate here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 2021 OS World Cup. I am Doland, and I'll be joined by Demarsh for Russia versus China. How you doing?
Dude, I am so excited. I cannot wait. This is going to be an epic match. We've got, the best Russian players, the best Chinese players coming in. There's been a lot of substitutions from the China roster, but they have put together a very decent roster that I think is going to be insane. I'm really excited to see how these guys perform in the bracket stage.
Yeah, definitely kind of a stacked match for a round of 32, but these two teams being paired up against each other coming out of the qualifier. And they will do battle here. Some big names coming out here. Russia have always been chasing greatness. They've reached finals week a few times. They are looking for more. And China, obviously, a lot of new blood, as we can see on the screen, with a few players we may know.
Yeah, of course, the biggest names that have dropped out, obviously Crystal, who is so well known as one of, if not the best Chinese player. You also have GGGBY stepping down as well, but you've got some very strong players, QQQY, I've casted for before, and is incredibly strong aim player. I think this team, while probably not the best all round, definitely has its maps that Russia need to be careful of. So
Absolutely.
I'm curious about this band stage as well.
Yeah, if the last match taught us anything, it's never to count out the underseeded teams in the matchups, especially on the first map pool of the tournament. Singapore giving the UK a little bit of trouble, but the UK getting it done 5-3 earlier, if you just missed that one.
No, a fantastic match that was. I think most people were expecting a bit more of a one-sided affair with the UK, but they pulled through. It was close, but they did it.
And you also got to factor in nerves. It's the first match of OWC opening weekend. There's a lot of hype around it, a lot of nerves, so we're going to be seeing a lot more misses than we're used to as these players kind of settle in to OWC.
Yeah. And as well, this Russia side, I think the strength with this Russian team this year is that their all-round consistency on a wide range of stuff is just so scary. Whether it be Hard Rock, Hidden, Nomad, or DT, or even Free Mod for that matter, they will have a 4-person lineup, but it'll be tough to beat. So you can see, China banning out that Nomad 2 is very understandable. I think they had some struggles with that in the qualifiers. They had some good players from Genshin Phobia and QQQY. Oh, sorry, LOL 233. But the other two, QQQY and Joseph Joestar, they struggled a bit with Nomad 2, so it's understandable they ban it here.
Mm-hmm. And Russia are definitely a team that has strong fundamental base. So understandable ban there. Russia banning out Hidden 2, and they're going to open this match with Nomad 5.
Yeah, Hidden 2 is a really sensible ban from Russia. China had I think they had two 700k scores and two 600s on Hidden 2, which was really impressive for the weekend. It was one of the best scores overall, so in comparison, not to say Russia play bad on it, they just don't have the 4-man roster that China have on that map, so it makes sense to get rid of it. But this is another really good map for Russia here.
Right.
Sort of Nomad 5 it's just that raw speed. It's 240 BPM, so if you're able to tap 240, you should have no issues with this map whatsoever. Not a lot of finger control, very standard Nomad 5 speed map.
Well, let's see who's warmed up on speed here. The start command coming in from the official to start this match. Russia are going to go with Apostle, Aoi Kiseki, Red Pixel, and Mr. Future. China sending in Genshin Phobia, Burger Fox, QQQY, and Joseph Joestar. And there we go. The match is underway now. A very short map, just under 2 minutes, so got to keep an eye out for even those early misses. They could be a factor.
Yeah, so far a little bit of a slightly better start for Russia as Pack drops early on, but this is where we really sort of get into this match. You see the speed coming in these bursts, 240. You know, everyone looking relatively comfortable on this.
Yeah, it's just a slight lead for Russia here based on accuracy. QQQY is going to be the first drop here from China, further extending the lead for Russia.
Yeah, early break. This isn't a long map. It's just under 2 minutes. So that is quite a significant break for China.
Yeah. Red Pixel and Mr. Future are looking so comfortable on this along with Apostle. That missed though.
Yeah.
Unfortunate break there right at the halfway mark from Joseph Joestar. That is going to score cap him pretty hard. And that is going to further put the advantage with Russia here. And I don't know if there's much China can do but hope for an absolute meltdown here from Russia.
No, yeah, Red Pixel holding that SS for his team, putting in the work, but all of them just holding those combos. Good accuracy. Aokiseki on the lowest at 98. But, oh, it does find a drop as long.
Double miss.
Possible.
Still Mr. Future and Red Pixel still holding on strong. Mr. Future, he's going to drop only Red Pixel now. Only 1 FC remaining for Russia. There is time here, potentially for China. That score bar is flying back rapidly. I don't know if there's enough time. Actually, it's going to be very close.
Oh, it's moving.
China are pulling it back. Do they have enough? Joseph Joestar will miss at the end. And it's close, but Russia will hang on by the skin of their teeth. 9K, the margin, and they will barely escape with their opening pick. Oh, take it and run, Russia. My lord.
That break from Joseph Joestar is what decided that. If he had held on and not missed, you know, if he not slider broke right there, they would have taken that because he had a decent combo going.
Wow, it just goes to show you anything can happen in OWC. The map looked all but over, but we said they needed a meltdown from Russia, and they got it. So close.
Man, that is a fantastic opening first play from both teams, Russia and China. You know, Red Pixel putting in the work there. Wasn't able to hold the SS, but, you know, pulling in that massive score definitely helped. But it was that triple break from Russia that really shook things up. China had a very good recovery. They still managed to hold on to those 2 full combos, but just wasn't quite enough with that second break from Joseph.
It was literally the perfect timing for China when Russia had that triple break. They had combos and they were ready to attack and almost overturn the deficit. But now China are going to have to find another way to get on the board here with their opening pick.
Yeah, they really have to. I'll have to think carefully about this. I know that they've probably got a decent hard rock lineup. Russia also have a good hard rock lineup as well, so it's really probably going to come down to consistency on these lower star ratings. But Nomad 1 should be a good option for them, but whether they'll pick it earlier or later, I don't know.
Yeah, it can be a little bit risky just because it is Nomad 1, and typically most teams are going to be able to have a roster for a map like that, but looks like they're going to go with Nomad 4 here, so they're going to feel them out more here.
Yeah, Nomad 4, interesting choice. You know, so it's a tech map. It's very different from the sort of qualifier Nomad 4 that we had. You know, there's a greater sort of focus on the sliders on this in comparison. There are some nasty slider ticks in some of these slider velocities that people have got to watch out for. But I suppose the advantage with Nomad 4 being just vastly different between this and the qualifiers is that it can present a bit of an unknown. You know, you're testing different skill sets, so it might work to China's benefit.
Yeah, it's also just a good idea to test as many skill sets as you possibly can early in the match so you can scout your opponents better for the later rounds. Could be what China's doing here. But also another very short map. 2 minutes, 13 seconds.
Yeah, both teams wanting to start off with these shorter maps. Not really wanting to test too much consistency early on, which probably is a wise decision. You know, with these longer combo maps, early breaks and mid breaks can be disastrous because you can have some really one-sided carries on maps like that. So
yeah, but as we've seen, misses are definitely more impactful on these short maps, as we've seen the comebacks almost happen right before our eyes.
Yeah.
So China opening things up here with this Nomad 4 pick. Not too many substitutions across the board. Lolol233 coming in for China, as well as Talala on the side of Russia.
So far, Russia off to the much more solid start.
Yeah, much better accuracy from Russia at the start. Leva, though, is going to find the first drop very early. So that accuracy actually might pad that for now and keep Russia ahead. Lala is going to drop. Leva will trade it.
Yeah, and everyone else still holding quite strong, but it looks like Russia's still holding that slight accuracy advantage. I'm a Burger Fox seems to be struggling a bit, only managing it just below 94, gone up to 95 now.
Ooh, 3 misses there. Double miss from China. That was Cuckoo QY and Genshin. The sliders are nasty. Leva is struggling quite a bit though, but unfortunately it's 2 misses on China to 1 on Russia, so Russia are now starting to run away with it, and we're near the halfway point. Talala is going to drop though, so that'll slow things down just a bit at the break.
Yeah, Burger Fox, there's the only one on China holding a full combo, and it's not a very high accuracy in comparison to Red Pixel and Aokiseki. Lolol is recovering. He's brought a nice supporting combo, which might help a little bit, but I think China need to hold all the way through and pray for another break coming in from Russia to have a chance at this point.
Yeah, they just might need a miss or 2 here. Maybe even just 1 miss from one of their bigger combos, but Cuckoo QY is going to go down, and Russia's looking comfortable here heading into the last Ki.
Yeah, it's all Red Pixel. There goes Aokiseki though.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. It's on Red Pixel and Leva right now for Russia. If Red Pixel goes, this could flip, but China not going to be able to do it, it looks like. Once again, they mount a comeback. Burger Fox and Leva will trade at the end, and Russia will take the 2-0 lead.
Again, though, another close point. That wasn't really decisive. Obviously Red Pixel coming in clutch for his team. Once again, he is really the star player of the Russian team. He's always so consistent, which is great for, just for your team comp. But again, China, they're looking dangerous. They seem to struggle very early on, but their recovery is fantastic. And Russia have got to be careful. Can't afford those late breaks.
Yeah, China definitely giving them a run for their money. It is going to be Double Time 2 coming out next.
Again, a beautiful classic L-Cheer map. This is all again, another speed focus map, similar to sort of Nomad 5. But there's no real massive spacing on the notes here. So these streams and bursts, it's all about, can you tap 248 BPM? And it's very, very standard, but can prove tricky. A very solid pick for Russia, I think.
We do see a couple of substitutions coming in here. Future back in, Apostle also back in for Russia. Not many changes for China. I believe Joestar is back in.
Yeah, Joseph's back in. I'm fairly sure that they're sticking with the rest of the lineup. Lolol and Genshin staying in from the previous map, but
yep, so just 2 subs for Russia, 1 for China. And boy, Red Pixel so far putting in some work. Doomsday said it in chat earlier. So far, it's the Red Pixel difference, and that is reflecting that 2-0 scoreline right now.
I'll tell you what it is. It's because he's on the red team. That's what it is. He gets that red team buff. It's Red Pixel, Team Red. It's a fact.
If they got number 1 seed in the qualifiers, it would have been red team every time.
Oh, if only.
In the winners bracket, my goodness. The things he could have done. Here we go, on to the first double time pick of the match. Although Nomad 5 was, in some ways, a speed warm-up, it's not quite this. Early miss coming out from Lalo on the side of China. Russia with just better accuracy and more FCs now, commanding early advantage.
Fox also finding a break. It looks like they're actually struggling to adjust to this map more than anything. As Joseph off to a flying start for China in comparison. His teammates aren't holding up as another break from Lolo finds its way in.
Lolo is struggling right now. Burger Fox on the 1 miss. So far, all of their 6 players are holding FCs a third of the way through. Map's not over just yet, but right now Russia looking very good right now. We have seen China, though. They have stalled out in the early half of maps, but rallied in the latter halves.
Yeah, Russia Fox coming up with a nice recovery, though.
Yeah, Russia have kind of done the opposite. They've jumped out to big leads and then kind of fallen apart the second half. But this lead is much bigger than the others.
This is such a comfortable play from Russia, but there goes Lever Russian, the first one to drop. But he's still holding 99% accuracy. That is doing so much work for his team. They all hold 99.
And the lead is over 400,000 points right now. China are going to need Russia to start literally falling apart for much of the rest of the map in order to take this point.
Approaching that last quarter, they're still holding strong with 4 99s. Lever Russian breaking again, but he's the only one. As long as these 3 hold, they've got no issues.
Man, look at this. It's 3 FCs to 2. But China had good supporting combos there for a while. Just Russia is not budging aside from Leva. Mr. Future finally will give up the second FC. The Red Pixel and Apostle putting in massive work here, along with Mr. Future. Joseph Joestar and Cuckoo QY just unfortunately didn't have the reinforcements they needed. Russia looking strong.
Yeah, again, the difference in comfort. 4 million team score on that. Incredible. Coming out from Russia. Red Pixel once again. What can you say? It's a Red Pixel day. Apostle also coming in clutch as well.
Yeah, Red Pixel, Apostle, and Mr. Future really playing well. Mr. Future's also played well on a few of the maps, not quite getting the FCs, but getting massive combos, which, I mean, obviously contributes to help putting points on the board. But Red Pixel is having an absolute field day on this map pool.
Yeah, China in a bit of a rough position now. 3 points in, they've not managed to pick one up. This next map pick could be their last if they're not careful. I know this is a very strong aim team, but they tested out the Nomad 1, but I think maybe they need to pull out something aim focused. I'm looking at that Nomad 1 thinking maybe it's time, maybe they want to risk saving it, but if it were me, I would go with that Nomad 1.
Yeah, this is going to be a very crucial point, because if China fail to take this, they will be down 4-0 on match point. Russia's pick, not the situation you want to be in.
As well, Russia have that tendency to break at the worst possible times later on in those maps, which could play very well into Nomad 1, and the history Nomad 1s tend to have with mid-map breaks. But we'll see what they come up with.
So China's still on the clock. They're going to go with free mod 2. And I think this is actually a really interesting decision here. Going with free mod, allowing for the flexibility of mods across the roster. It's a little bit of a gamble.
It is a bit of a gamble, but they do have those particularly strong players. I think of Genshin Phobia probably going on Hard Rock for this. Probably having possibly Garden coming in to do Hidden. I'm trying to think who else would be very strong sort of Hidden-wise. Again, there's a lot of this roster would be very good on this. QQQY would be very strong on a Hidden map like this. I guess it's going to come down to who wants to do what, but you need to have 2 mods from players as well as unique mods. So you might see quite a few no mods coming in there just to make sure that the consistency's there for both teams, really.
I would not be surprised from China if we saw double no mod. Single no mod would be a little risky, but I could still see them going with just one no mod play if they want to try to go for that score advantage. This is kind of a do or die situation for them in this match, so we'll have to see what they go with. But plenty of substitutions coming in. Stripe 36 checking in. First play of the match. As well as Pivka.
Yeah, Pivka, an interesting choice here. Could go Hidden or Hard Rock. Very, very solid all-rounder across the Pivka. So it's hard to know quite what the strategy is. I mean, maybe Russia are over-modding here? It's definitely possible, looking at this lineup.
It's definitely possible, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, just considering the situation. I think they know this is a pretty important point, that if they take this, they're going to be in a really good position. And no overmods at all from either team. Both team wanting to play it as safe as possible. Red Pixel and Genshin Phobia will be the hidden players. Mr. Future and Strife will be the Hard Rock players. Everyone else on no mod.
Yeah, again, Strife, someone who pretty much just came in mostly to do those Hard Rock maps in the qualifiers. So it's understandable why he's coming here to be the sort of Hard Rock carry that they need.
Early miss coming out of Red Pixel, but nothing to worry about, just a very early miss. Oh, but that's another one from Red Pixel, and now that might be something to worry about.
Yeah, the second one, a bit more significant.
It's going to put China in front for now. Already quartered the way through. And it could just be that adjustment from going to some speed into Hidden.
Yeah, it is 200 BPM, so the BPM adjustment shouldn't be too massive. But I suppose he's going to Hidden a different type of reading altogether. So far, everyone else holding really good, solid FCs.
Yeah, halfway through, and again, aside from those early breaks from Red Pixel, there's no one else missing. It just looks to be a slight AC advantage for China. Lowest accuracy is Strife, but again, oh, and Strife does go down right as I say that. That is going to be a problem. That's the Hard Rock FC down for China. Russia's going to start to pull this one back to the front of the map, but then there goes Burger Fox as well.
That is huge. That is huge. Losing one of your no mods is massive for this team score. And look, it just flips instantly. And the accuracy's coming out from Russia once again. Absolutely solid.
Into the final quarter here, and Russia are checking out. China are going to need something to happen. Something good to happen. Unfortunately, that miss from Strife is not what they needed. Look at that, 3-way FCs coming out of Russia. Red Pixel has not missed since the second drop.
That again, Genshin Phobia and QQQY, they're getting those FCs, but unfortunately their teammates not able to join them. And Russia, match point.
That is 4-0 Russia. One more to secure it, and they have the pick.
That is a crazy good play from Mr. Future there. He's the only one on his team who got a perfect full combo with Hard Rock, which is pretty nuts on a map like that. Highest score in the lobby, I believe, as well. So he is the standout player on that free mod too.
Yeah, the only player that also got above 1 million was Genshin, a hidden player for China. So an outstanding score from Mr. Future. Now we'll see where Russia go, and they're going to go with DT3, so sticking with the theme of speed, going into the half-slashed map.
Yeah, this half-slash map, I think this map is really brutal and tricky, but others seem to disagree with me. But it's very finger control heavy. But you know, it's Toho, so what do you expect? Space bursts mixed in, you know, there's triples, there's doubles. There is a bit of an aim element to this as well, which can be tricky when you combine that with the finger control. So I think this is a very difficult map, but Russia seems very confident on DT right now.
Yeah, Russia have just looked good on all things speed. The Nomad 5 speed-oriented pick, all the double times. Mr. Future getting that brilliant FC on Hard Rock. I mean, Russia have just showed up today big. China was contesting those early picks in the match, but since then it has been all Russia.
Yeah, I think the thing I worry about for China on this is that in comparison to Russia, Russia's acts have just been overall much higher. And on a finger control map where accuracy is just so vital, it might pose some problems for them. So again, there is that aim element which possibly benefits them as well. So it's an uphill battle for China, but I wouldn't count them out of this one just yet.
They are going to need 5 in a row to remain in the winner's bracket. Another short map, about 2 minutes. But a good start here for China, aside from the miss from Lol. I mean, everyone else is holding pretty good accuracy. You see that Aoi and Mr. Future kind of had some rough starts there for Russia. Oh, and they both miss! So now China is going to be taking over that lead quite comfortably if they can hold combos.
Yeah, they're on hopefully very good form to keep this going. Like it was mentioned, very short map, so those breaks, right as we went into those breaks, it's quite significant. Josie does find a break as well, though. So it's going to even things out a little bit.
And unfortunately for him, he's going to get score capped pretty hard by that miss. That was near the halfway mark. Genshin Phobia is going to miss right at the halfway mark. That's going to score cap 2 of China's players. Russia now firmly in control.
We saw the score margin just flipped from one side to the other instantly with that break from Genshin Phobia. And going into this last quarter of the map, you know, Russia, they are there. They hit this slider. No breaks going into it. I think Russia are going to bring this one home. 200,000 score gap. They're all going to have to miss, I think, for China to pull this back at this point.
It is Red Pixel and Apostle right now, but Apostle is going to find a break. Only Red Pixel remaining, but there's still so much lead built up for Russia into the last sections here. It is going to be over. Russia are going to take this one 5-0, a clean sweep for them. China, unfortunately, nothing they can do. They really contested several of those maps. It's a very deceptive-looking 5-0. But Russia, the better team today, they take the win.
Yeah, I think Russia played into the fact that they are very strong on the speed elements of this pool, and they just played that against China. And there wasn't a lot they could do. They didn't have the 4-man roster that they needed to compete with Russia, but it was, like you said, a very good game. Those early points, very closely contested, but it just wasn't quite enough.
And there are your winners. The Russian Federation will be advancing in the winners bracket to the round of 16 next week.
Yeah, but it's not over for China. I feel like they could give this losers bracket a good run, as they do drop down into the losers bracket. So it's not the last we'll see of them, and I'm hoping they'll show us some even more amazing moments next week.
Yeah, they will have a second chance in that losers bracket. You can check the bracket to find out who's playing who at the end of the weekend. But that is going to do it for now. I believe we're going to have a short break before going into our next match, which is going to be, I believe, Brazil and Philippines. And there are the rosters on screen right now. Brazil, very storied roster here, a veteran roster. Some new blood coming in as well. Brazil showed up pretty well in the qualifiers too.
This match should also be a very good match. You know, Philippines, this is a team that's been constantly improving year after year, but they are up against a tough first opponent in Brazil. Like you said, veteran squad, Mao Zizi, Koran Maluko, Mistia, Ex-Kirito. You know, if you play or even just spectate tournaments, you will know those names, and it's a scary roster to go up against.
Yeah, and this is the 16th seed Brazil against the 17th seed Philippines, so this statistically should be the match to go to tiebreaker. I'm just saying, you guys might not want to miss it. But we are also going to be getting a caster change, at least one caster going out. Mr. Demarche, I believe you're going to be taking your leave soon.
I will. I think OMG4's who's coming on is ready and raring to go, so I shall leave you in his capable hands.
It's been lovely casting with you. Thank you so much, chat. Give him some love. Demarche, ladies and gentlemen. But now, welcoming the new co-caster. You may know him. You might have heard of this guy. It's OMG4's.
Hello.
How are you doing, Fours?
I'm doing fine. I mean, apparently planning was perfect. That the match only took half an hour for the next match to be well on its way, starting right about now. And man, I mean, coming from the Russia match into this one, I think it'll look way different now, because these two teams are pretty much neck and neck in seeding. 16th seed against the 17th seed, and looking at the performances all around, they're pretty similar. They could trade blow for blow on literally anything. So I'm really excited to see this match. Maybe you can see a tiebreaker.
It's a match that's only fun for the spectators. The teams hate it when you play against a team that has similar skill sets to your own.
Right. But the thing is, you know, you have to have at least a few teams in a round to have a similar skill sets, or like similar at least placements and strengths. So we at least have some closer matches, which could be very hype, I would say. I think in terms of pick'ems, I'm really interested to see the winner of this one. Who are you rooting for personally?
Oh, it's I always got to go with Brazil, man. I'm a huge Brazil fan. Always been a big Mouse Easy fan. But the Philippines have been getting more dangerous over the years in Standard. They've been kind of slowly creeping up, you know, and they've been getting, you know, to become a much bigger threat. That 17th seed is no joke. I mean, to qualify one seed behind Brazil, you have to be pretty good to do that.
Yeah, I think it was actually a lot of factors coming in. For example, one of them is Nissan missing this year, which is my fault for stealing him from the Brazilian team, taking as a playtester for the map building team here.
The sabotage.
I know. He's really good. He's really good. And I mean, he shows by doing like 90% of replays in the early stages.
He's so good. We have him do all the replay.
Right. Yeah. We had to nerf Brazil. Come on, just make it more interesting. But yeah, there's a few new people coming.
It's too good of an offer. You can never be eliminated from the tournament if you are the play tester.
Exactly.
You're always in the tournament every week on the showcase.
You can't lose, right? And I think Nissan just took the winning bet here.
Well, the bans are going to be coming out now, and it's going to be Nomad 4 from the Philippines and Hard Rock 2 from Brazil.
Both these make sense because, respectively, they're the best performed maps for both teams, or like the biggest difference of maps. On Nomad 4, Brazil outperformed Philippines by like 1 million points, so that's gigantic. And on Hard Rock 2, On the other way around, Philippines performed 450k points higher than Brazil. So they just took the qualifier results, banned where the biggest differences are, and that's that.
The stage is set, and the Philippines have the first pick of this match. They're on the clock at the moment.
If they want to go for a safe pick, they could either go for the DT2 or Nomad 1.
Well, they have
And
gone
they're
for
going
the
for
DT2.
Alright, once again, just going off of qualifier results, this is what you expect to see. So far, pretty predictable.
Yeah, it looks like both these teams are ready to get straight down to business here. Brazil sending in Mistia, Korean Malico, Mouse Easy, and X Kirito. Philippines still waiting on a fourth to join Kagano, Elki, Milk, Teism, and the fourth will be Xylos.
Alright, genuinely expected rosters, I would say, for the DT2 here.
Brazil's debating us.
I mean, I would expect Mouse Easy to probably play this. Unless... I mean, if there's a slight difference to DT1 in the qualifiers, that it has slightly less aim. So if you do not have any aim and only tapping ability, you should be better on this one than on the qualifier DT1. But I'm definitely sure that Korean Maluko is gonna play this and X Kirito, because both of these players should pretty much have seen the DT1.
They are certified DT1 players. Brazil still trying to sort out their roster for this.
Okay, Mister coming in.
Could just be some connection issues at the moment.
Probably arguing who's actually gonna play this map.
No, I have better scores. No, I have better scores.
Yeah, I mean, mostly teams do have some kind of document where they put in there. There we go. It's Mouse Easy. Yeah.
Yeah, they're most.
I was about to say, if he's not playing, we have bigger issues.
Yeah, it
He's not
wasn't.
feeling
They didn't even change any of the players. It was probably just connectivity issues.
Yeah.
So, looks like we are ready.
Mistia did play on a different run, and he's decently good at speed, so we'll see. Low spacing, just all about bursts. If you can't tap this, well, you gotta practice.
That's a bar. All right, Brazil and Philippines underway, round of 32. And no early misses at the start, aside from Korean Malico and now Elki. So one miss apiece. Brazil still with the lead off of accuracy at the moment.
Pretty huge accuracy drop in the beginning, but generally players should be able to recover here.
And they're actually a slight combo advantage on Brazil. The difference between Korean Malico and Elki right now, it's about 80 combo, not massive, but it's slowly adding something.
The deal here is that you can pretty much miss on every part of the map because it's pretty consistently spaced and there's no complete spike anywhere. So it can throw you off guard like any time.
Brazil looking really comfortable on this. Some high accuracy plays coming out of Mouse Easy. Oh, Mistia, the other high accuracy player, is actually going to find a miss.
Yeah, it's Misty and Elki both trading misses here.
Milk Tea and Kagano for the Philippines, holding up those big scores along with Xylos. 3 FCs to 3, essentially. Korean Malico's a little behind, but it's essentially nearly good for an FC at this point. Oh, major act drops. That scoreboard jumping over to the blue team side there. A quarter of the map left. It looks like the Philippines are going to have enough time here. Double miss coming from Mistia and Mouse Easy. Elki will trade one of them, but the Philippines now storming in front with 3 FCs to 2.
He did get caught by the 11 node burst.
Double miss from the Philippines. Xylaw's making a triple miss. Milk Tea's the only FC remaining, and now Brazil pulling it right back over near the end. Unless there's a miss from Korea Malika or Kirito, it's over for the Philippines, and I don't think there's enough time. Little tug of war game at the end, but Brazil will win it back. 1-0.
No spin to win to change anything. And, well, pretty much as we expected. Misses all over the board. Not really predictable. Mystia did get a really good accuracy, but was lacking quite a bit in combo. That almost gave the win to the Philippines, which is a solid freeway, just high combos on the Philippine side. I would say pretty much as you expected, right? Neck and neck on almost any map we saw in the qualifiers, and neck and neck on the first map here.
So far the match delivering a little bit of hype at the start. So now Brazil are on the clock for their first pick of the match. That was a break point. So a chance to go up 2-0 here.
Brazil can't pick the number 4, unfortunately. That probably would have been the angle to go for. Otherwise, I can definitely see them just going for Hard Rock 1 straight up. They've pretty much outperformed Philippines on Hard Rock 1.
Yeah, I mean, the Philippines, not Philippines, but Brazil did ban out Hard Rock 2, but again, a little bit different from Hard Rock 1 in many ways.
Yeah, there's also no CS 6.5 in the free mod they can take advantage of on Hard Rock. So,
they're actually going too.
Ooh, okay, I like it. Not a bad pick either. Compared to qualifiers, this is way more straightforward and just jump and curse awareness. That's the map in a nutshell.
Brazil going to switch this skill set up just a little bit. And with players like Mystia and Mouse Easy on your team, it's a pretty solid pick.
Yeah, Mouse Easy always gets really high accuracy. Unfortunately, he can't really take advantage of his really good act on even lower approach hit picks here, because usually I think every score should be at least 98% accuracy across the board, because just the core of the map isn't about getting high accuracy or being hard to act. It's mostly just about the combo. So it's either mostly an SS or mismatch.
And we see a big roster change from the Philippines actually here. Kagano, the only player remaining. Hyuk, Ramu, and Lilyflower substituting in for this. We'll see Tones checking in from Brazil to round out their roster of 4. So it looks like we're set for Hidden.
Yeah, Philippines here might have a slight disadvantage, that they do not really have that much of a 4-man roster on this Hidden 2. Kageno will probably be the weakest link here, unless he performs a lot better on this style of approach date Hidden. If they can actually do a pretty solid 4-way combo here, or just the performance in general, then this should be way better for showing the qualifiers.
Brazil got a hefty advantage there off the spinner.
Lilyflower did miss the first node of the entire map.
Listen, Apraxia method, alright? Or whatever, just insert your name and call it your method. Boom.
Right, it's misses are on purpose as long as you add the method
right?
afterwards.
As long as you add the method. But so far, Brazil looking very good right now. Pretty commanding lead.
Yeah, I was about to say both teams have the same method, but Xcurity just had a ghost miss.
Oh, Mouse Easy is going to be dropping here pretty early. Oh, but Kagano is going to trade that miss. So now it's kind of back to square one, but Brazil has netted about 70,000 points of advantage off of it. Trades coming in from Tones and Kagano. That will actually favor the Philippines, given that Tones' combo was bigger. Halfway through, Philippines is pulling it back. Another miss from Tones coming in.
I mean, if Brazil keeps underperforming here and the Philippines just holds a freeway C, or at least gets really high combos here, it should be a decent shot for them.
Yeah, the Philippines at this point look like they're in a pretty good position to combo game this. Tones missing again. The Philippines now with the lead. And about a third of the map left.
Alright, second Ki coming in. We should expect at least one or two more misses here. Judging by how it's going.
Brazil really do need some misses come out from the Philippines, though. Kagano, not the one that Brazil wanted to miss. Stop a little bit of the bleeding, and Lily is going to find a drop for the Philippines. So Brazil is going to start to pull this back a little bit, but they're still pretty far back, and there's not enough map for the Misty. It will drop, and that will steal it. The Philippines will trade breakpoint for breakpoint with Brazil.
Wait. Okay, no, that shouldn't be enough. Rambo did miss at the end, which scared me a little bit, but there wasn't enough.
For a little bit. But the Philippines were tied at 1. So far, kind of just jolted. Philippines are second pick of the match. But what a comeback their Philippines! They got that early rally back. Solid performance by their three-man hidden roster there. Really kind of just get them that point the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, they did try something, and so far they were just trading points left and right. But coming to the next pick, it's gonna be no mod 3. All right. I can see it. I can see this. The score was pretty close, as was any other score so far. And having both teams just trade back and forth with points, we'll see if Philippines can actually win on their own point on this the pick finally, and Brazil maybe goes for another break point, and then Philippines goes for another break point. I mean, well, you can't really argue here that the teams don't know their strength, because in the end, this is all about execution. Because when you have teams that are this close, it's not really that much about strategy. Obviously, it helps to know exactly where you're slightly more favored. But if it's not a 50-50, it's more of a 60-40. And those odds are still pretty well in your team's, in the enemy team's favor. So you can't really expect anything, but you can try and just take advantage of the odds a little bit.
4-minute Nomad coming in next.
Alright, we've seen this plenty of times. It's a consistent Nomad alternate map. As you saw Nissan in the replay for the map showcase, you see this with single tap. You can't single tap this. Most people will alternate this. It's 4 minutes, has a bit of snap aim, flow aim. Ending is slightly harder, so if you miss in the first half, you're gonna have a bit of a harder time. Also, despite being the map pool selector, I wasn't aware of how many bangers are in this pool. Just everything is a blur across the stages, so I don't know if we can even keep the banger ratio up for the next stages. Jesus Christ.
The banger ratio must be on point, alright? This is the law. But it looks like we're going to get started here on the third round. Seeing Defon's check in for Brazil, his first map of the match.
Alright, this is up for anyone to grab here.
Some early misses from both sides here, but a double miss coming out of the Philippines. It's going to favor Brazil here at the start. Better accuracies too from them.
Yeah, people missing on pretty much the first hard part, 3 of them. I mean, it is a consistent pick, so the early misses won't say too much about the result of the match yet. They will, however, if everyone keeps a seeing, but I don't think that everyone will keep a seeing. Oh, Rambo missing on the repeat slider there. Another miss by Hyuk, 2 misses by the Philippine side. This is looking pretty good for Brazil right now. That's almost the end of the first KI, and Brazil is looking pretty strong with a commanding lead here. There's still more miss potential to be had. Also, for holding for the first half, definitely gives you a way better chance for the second half.
Yeah, Brazil's looking super good right now. Lots of nice combos, and Hyuk and Ramu still trying to recover.
Alright, we're just before the solo, and this is where things just start being slightly harder. So Rambo, who missed twice in the KI, hopefully these were just fluke misses, because things are about to get really spicy now.
So far, it's Milk Team, Mousie's and Mistia popping off with the FCs. Kagano is holding on to a massive combo as well. Ramu and Defons are going to trade.
That trade does favor Philippines, because Rambo's combo was way lower, and that's a miss by Mousie's, I believe. And we're getting right into the first solo. The only solo of the map, and
Defons dropping once again. It's only Mistia and Korea Maliko for Brazil. Milk Tea and Kagano are fighting them off quite well here. Oh, but Milk Tea is going to drop. And that is massive for Brazil. Korean is going to trade it. But now they're running out of time.
it's only Kagano holding strong for the Philippine side, but he had an early miss, so he's missing 100 combo.
Now heading into the final section, it's all going to be on Mistia and Kagano, but Philippines are going to need Mistia to melt down and a lot to happen, and that is not happening. And Kagano is going to be the one to drop, and that is going to seal this one. Brazil will go up 2-1.
Yeah, no combo left for the Philippine side. That's a done deal.
Yeah, just sadly that miss from Milk Tea there. The beginning of that last section was the dagger.
Mistia did miss right at the end. I think in the last 5 notes, he missed twice. He didn't get the FC, but he did get the win for his team with the 955k score here. Yeah, just a really good performance by Mistia and a decent team effort from Brazil.
That's also another breakpoint.
That is true. That is another breakpoint.
Breakpoints in a row. Do I hear 4?
I mean, the chances are decently high. There's still a few options left for Philippines, like number 1, which they seem to be pretty decent on. But otherwise, I think Brazil is mostly favored 60-40 on most of the remaining picks, I would say. But Philippines, I mean, 40% is still a really good chance for every single pick. You're slightly,
that's not bad.
You're slightly behind, but I mean, we've seen upsets. Even if the odds are like 10-90 for your team, we've seen USA lose a point early on, right?
Yeah, we actually, in 2019, the only time the US ever trailed in a match was against Turkey, the 32nd seed that year.
Yeah,
They
and
were down 1-0 at one point.
I mean, and that is a very low order of happening. And you know, if you take a 5.95 and you win it, I mean, 40-60 still seems pretty good.
We're still going to go with free mod 2. Nodder's time.
Okay.
I love the difficulty, just death.
I mean, it pretty much fits the song, right? It's death metal. Different songs, hopefully for people, coming right from a Japanese song into this one.
It seems Brazil have chosen death for their second pick.
Hopefully they're gonna make a statement here and finally win their first point. Or actually, a team wins the first point of the match they picked. Would be wonderful.
Philippines is going to look to continue the trend of breakpoints.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who's truly favored here. I would definitely compare it slightly with Hidden One in qualifiers. And both teams, once again, pretty much the same performance.
Yeah, it's also really hard to kind of, again, these are two teams of like similar skill sets on free mod too. I'm pretty sure both these teams have enough depth of players to have comfortable mods for everything here.
Oh yeah, because both these teams perform pretty similarly on Hardwork and Hidden. They should have at least one person on Hardwork, one person on Hidden who's really comfortable, and then two people on Nomad, and that should be the solid roster there.
I wouldn't be
think anyone
surprised if we saw the Philippines try to overmod a little, maybe have one Nomad. If they feel like they're not favored on this, you know.
I mean, it hasn't been a 4-way C yet, and I don't think you will expect a 4-way C easily from these teams. They can happen, sure, but I would bank on the two normals, 100%. Because so far, every single map has not been about ecking or like have an egg battle, but rather just about combo. And you just have an easier time on Nomad on this, 100%.
Well, we'll let the client load again. We'll get those mods back on the screen. So, no over mods. It is going to be Korean Maliko and Milk Tea, the Hard Rock players, and our hidden players are going to be Kirito and Ramu.
Alright, the 200 BPM, slightly tappy with a bit of an alt pattern in the middle of it. Let's see how they will perform on them.
Some early misses coming out from Milk Tea and Kirito. It's going to favor Brazil because Milk Tea is the Hard Rock player. And Milk Tea's actually struggling quite a bit here in the intro. So Brazil with a fair lead at the moment. About 50k.
This is a way shorter song, so those early misses actually hurt quite a bit.
And Milk Tea's finally starting to recover that combo a bit. So far everything else is looking really good. Building into the middle sections of the map, nearing the halfway mark. Let's see if anyone gets score capped here.
Alright, and the slowdown.
Oh, Milk Tea gets caught out there. And Brazil just looking so good, looking so comfortable on this.
Ooh. That's a miss by Brazil. There is a chance.
Yeah, the Philippines are going to need a little more, though. Just a little more from Brazil. They need one, maybe two more misses. here in this last quarter of the map.
Yeah, the Philippines do need another miss because Milk Tea isn't gonna hit 600k, which is the missed score here. They need another miss.
And they really need that miss to come from Korean Malco or Malseasing at this point. Ramu is going to drop, and that might very well seal it. This time it will not be a break point. 3-1 Brazil.
And we finally have a win on their own pick for the first time in this match.
Well, the Philippines now down by 2 are going to have to go to work, and they're going to have to get to work pretty soon here.
Could we call this the break point to the break points?
The break point to the break point? Oh my. I guess you could say we're at the breaking point.
Oh no.
Oh no, I gotta stop.
Not.
I'm sorry, Chad, I'll stop.
Hopefully not. I don't need another Team Liquid documentary.
It's only round to 32. I gotta save the puns.
Right. There's plenty of matches left.
Yeah. You got like 2 months of OWC left. Anyway, Philippines. The map pool's still fairly open here, and now do you think they go for that no mod 1 pick?
I think no one could be decent. I don't think Philippines would ever go for DT3. DT1 is a map which is a bit unknown, or there's a bit of information missing. Nomad 2 is also pretty different from the qualifiers Nomad 2, so if they would just want to do a Hail Mary, Nomad 2 could be a decent shout. Not sure what 3-mod 1, but I can definitely see Nomad 1, Nomad 2. They're going for Nomad 5. Speed. They did win DT2, but this one's, I mean, sure. They won the 50-50 on DT2, let's go for Nomad 5.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Brazil still has 2 or 1 really good pick left, and if they win this one, they should be in the driver's seat to actually just win the match easily.
This is a little bit of a gamble, but again, a shorter map, meaning that those misses are going to mean more. They could just have it well scouted, but electing not to go with double time, not to go with the no mod 1. And this is a very crucial point. I mean, if they do not get this point, Brazil will be at match point with the pick.
Yeah, I can easily just see after this map, Brazil responding with DT3 or responding with Hardrock 1, which they should be decently favored to win. And well, as decently favored as favored as you can be in this match.
As favored as you can be in a 16 seed against a 17 seed match. So it looks like the team's still finalizing their rosters. Brazil figuring out the 4th player. And this could be a good sign here for the Philippines. Brazil kind of struggling to find a 4th player here at the moment. But the Philippines definitely need to generate some momentum. If they want to get back in this match, they need to take this point, get a break point, start building something.
Yeah, Brazil just copying their DT2 roster. And I believe that's also pretty much the same roster for the Philippine side.
Yeah, not too many changes here. I think it actually is the exact same.
Actually, I think Hyuk was playing DT2.
Yeah, I think it, who's the sub? I think it was Kagano. It's either Kagano or Xylaz that didn't play the first DT, if I remember right.
Well, let's be surprised.
I
This
could
one
be
has
wrong on
slightly
that.
more aim, and it's short and sweet. Let's see how well they perform. Early misses are going to be really harsh here.
Yeah, misses are going to be absolutely punished to the maximum on this map. And Philippines, I'm sure they're aware of the situation. A little bit of a gamble. They need to win this point to secure another pick in this match at least.
can definitely see 5 or 6 FCs here.
Kagano is going to be the first drop there for the Philippines. Early advantage to Brazil. They had an advantage off of accuracy as well, so they're banking some pretty good score at the moment. Elki is the second drop for the Philippines.
Massive miss aim by Elki.
Oh, Silos is down. That's 3
no.
FCs down. Fubuki is the only one remaining. And Brazil still have 4-way FCs. That score bar is rocketing to the left. Unless they all just drop and we see 4 players get score capped, I mean...
This is looking really doomed. I don't think Philippines has a high chance of ever coming back in this map.
Yeah, and again, like, every Noke Brazil combos from now on just further seals their fate. Philippines need them to melt apart immediately, like right now, because they need map to come back. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much a win by Brazil in this map.
Yeah, 4-way. Now only 3-way FCs. Kirito is the first miss for Brazil near the end. It's not going to do anything. Brazil are going to come away with a massive win. 4-1. And they will have the pick at match point.
Yeah, when you miss when you have 3 players missing this early in the map, it's pretty hard to come back from that when the map is only 1 minute and 50 seconds long. Pretty good performance by Brazil. I think Philippines underperformed slightly, but, you know, can't FC it every time. If it was that easy, then, well, things will be a lot more predictable.
Now Brazil have a chance to put it away here.
I mean, Brazil can do a lot here. They could just go back to 3-1. They could go for the Harik one. Or just throw a Hail Mary with the Noma 2. They have a lot of options here. DT3 I think would maybe be the safest one. But it is easy enough for, I think, both teams to have a decent form and roster, so they might not want to go for it.
And Brazil not rushing things here, but let's hope they do get the pick in time. How about just an RNG roll pick?
I can see that. There's only 2 maps I don't want to see from Brazil, which is Nomad 1 and DT1 here. Otherwise, I think everything else is fair game.
Again, we're still waiting on the pick. It's going to be DT3. So we're going to be seeing the half-slashed map once again.
Pretty similar in identity to the qualifier DT2, in which Brazil performed really well, like really well, compared to, I think, even most other teams. But generally there was a 1.1 million difference between both teams on DT2 and qualifiers. Obviously this one being a lot easier, so people who got stamina gated on the qualifiers one shouldn't get stamina gated on this one. Slightly more spacing though on some of the bursts, but otherwise between the bursts there's not a lot of spacing. It's all about taking control and stamina.
So it's going to be Lily, Hyuk, Xylos, and Kagano from the Philippines. Tone's waiting on some teammates in the lobby for Brazil.
Okay, Milk Tea is not gonna play this one. That's interesting. He's the only player who has seed on their counting run on the DT2 and qualifiers. And they're opting not to go for Milk Tea. Maybe he's just not feeling it today.
Must be something they know we do not.
Yeah. Maybe everyone have seeds in the practice runs and Milk Tea didn't. Who knows?
Misty also checking in for Brazil.
This should still be a mouse. Yeah, that
Yeah, Mouse Easy, Korea, Malico. Okay.
same DT1 roster. Pretty much just ship it.
Oh, and Tones at the end is going to debate. Check out Kirito is in.
Yeah, now it's the same DT1 roster and qualifiers. There we go.
Tones was just vibing. All right, so for the Philippines, it is their last stand here. They need 4 in a row to remain in the winner's bracket. And we are going to get underway here shortly. Round number 6.
Let's see if the Philippines also get skill capped on this BPM and stamina intensity. It's quite a bit lower, so who knows? They should perform better.
Xylos very early miss. Kagano also an early miss. So 2 early misses from the Philippines. But again, those misses were so early that as long as they start comboing and get the accuracy up, it shouldn't be too bad for them in the long run if Brazil finds misses, unless Brazil 4-ways. But already 80k advantage for Brazil at the break. And already a quarter of the way through, I might add. Still no other misses to report just yet. Brazil still 4-weighing at the moment. Approaching that halfway mark though, will anyone get score capped?
So far, it's a huge accuracy gap, but combo gap is also a thing. Just one miss is enough to, even if you have an SS, to render that accuracy advantage.
Yeah, the Philippines might need 1 or 2, but a double miss could happen. That's very possible. So I mean, the Philippines still doing a good job holding their combos, waiting for an opportunity. Question is, will Brazil even provide that opportunity? Right now, they are all crushing it.
All right, is anyone gonna miss a slider?
Oh, Hyuk!
No one. Oh, we do have one miss. Oh no.
And that may very well seal it right there. Brazil just so strong on DT. The consistency is going to win them this match. It was a little ugly at the start, both teams trading breakpoints for a little bit. But Brazil will come through on double time and get the job done and put this match to bed. 5-1 Brazil over the Philippines. They will advance in the winner's bracket. The Philippines not eliminated. We will see them in the loser's bracket next week.
Yeah,
But
even if Hyuk didn't miss, it will still be a Brazil win. Huge accuracy lead here. Insane accuracy by Mist here and Mouse Easy. Well fought, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Congratulations to Brazil.
oh, now I'm hungry.
I mean, you're right on time because there will be a break.
Oh, perfect. A break, you say? Well, be sure to grab you guys some food, go to the bathroom, do what you gotta do. You don't want to miss these World Cup matches. It's OWC time. You've been waiting for it all year. Why would you miss it? But here are your winners. Brazil, 5-1 over the Philippines. Very convincing fashion, especially in the latter half of that match.
Oh yeah, Brazil is still a strong powerhouse, but we'll see how far they get this year. But Philippines is gonna join the losers bracket, and we'll see them, both of these teams, next week. For now, the next match is gonna be in quite some time actually. There's gonna be a longer break, so you can probably even take a nap until that match. It's gonna
12
be...
hours. Oh, that's quite
Yeah.
the break indeed. Yes. Didn't have the spreadsheet open in front of me, but 12 hours from now, we'll have Indonesia against Mexico. And we're going to have a lot of matches coming up after that, as you can see. It's a big block coming up for tomorrow's matches. You don't want to miss it. Follow the channel, and you can also buy banners for your favorite teams in the All Store, I believe.
That's a good question. Usually it's live, like 2 or 3 weeks into the tournament.
I'm not sure if it's live, but hey, you never want to miss a chance to plug a banner.
Exactly. But you know what else you can 100% do? Subscribe to the Twitch channel.
Or just follow, but you sub to, yes, But anyway, it's going to be 12 hours, Indo, Mexico, coming up. Don't miss it. Forrest, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks. It was a great pleasure as well on my side. And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the upcoming matches. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.